Then Sir Zebec unsheathed his sword and said to Azadin, I am a knight of the Church of the King. I cannot leave you, who speaks of the Emperor's law, b. Sir Zebec held his sword with both hands, ready to attack Azadin, and said, no matter if you perform righteous deeds. Azadin dropped his sword next to the young master, whose eyes were both missing, and said, ah, geez. Azadin pointed his finger at Sir Zebec and said, you aren't like the other knights of the Church of the King. Hearing this, Sir Zebec felt insulted and shouted at Azadin, you dare insult me? Azadin raised his hand and said, no, it was praise. With a serious expression, Azadin continued, the other knights of the Church of the King are nothing but scoundrels forcibly expelled from their homes due to matters of inheritance. Sir Zebec responded, that's, but Azadin interrupted him, saying, anyway. As he turned into black fog, Azadin asked Sir Zebec, will you be able to follow after me? Sir Zebec looked shocked and said what? Before completely disappearing, Azadin said, let's meet again if fate wills it, Sir Zebec. Azadin's figure completely disappeared, leaving Sir Zebec with the disabled body of the young master lying on the ground. Sir Zebec covered his face with his hand to avoid the black fog and looked toward the direction where it had vanished. Nearby, a soldier was groaning in pain. Sir Zebec thought to himself, nobody was able to kill Azadin of the Herald Clan. We were left with permanent losses instead. Scoundrels forcibly expelled from their homes due to matters of inheritance, he's not wrong. That applies to me just as well. Sir Zebec smiled and said, geez. Looking up at the sky, Sir Zebec said, I can feel a weight off my chest now. The scene shifted to a palace, where a figure was sitting on a chair. Several people were bowing in front of him, pleading for mercy. One of them said, my lord, please exempt us from taxes this year. Keeping his head lowered, the man added, I beg of you. All the people are running and becoming nomads, and those who have starved to death are wandering the streets as undead. We are overrun with thieves and monsters, and I apologize, but we cannot afford to pay taxes. After listening to this, the man looked unfazed and said with an expressionless demeanor, how shameless. The man's name was revealed to be Margrave Cazelle, the father of the young master, now permanently disabled. With an evil look, Margrave Cazelle said, at this rate, you would surely begin asking for rations as well. The people felt the weight of his words, trembling in fear, and replied, please excuse us, we are at our wits' end right now. Margrave Cazelle, speaking with seriousness and authority, said, nothing will change the lowly blood that flows within you. If you wish, I will provide relief. The people looked confused and asked in low voices, what, truly? Cazelle replied in a serious tone, yes. Then, with a demonic smile, he added, on the condition that if you cannot comply with my request, then all of you will be hanged. The people raised their heads and looked at him, confused and terrified. Margrave Cazelle conjured a flame in his hand and said, fear not. The flame transformed into a book, and Cazelle said, what you are asking for amounts to nothing more than a single page. Such is the nature of this grimoire. A few people looked at the book and said in fearful tones, a grimoire. We are ignorant of magic and do not know of such things. Cazelle, with a smiling tone, replied, no. Even ignorant fools like you will be able to find it. If you simply wish for it, it will respond to your call and reveal itself. Bringing them back from their thoughts, Cazelle offered, if you manage to bring me a grimoire like this, I will exempt your village from taxes for 3 years and provide 50 bushels each of wheat, barley, and oats. Hearing such a generous offer, the people looked shocked. How could such an evil person offer such a kind reward? One person, trembling, asked in a fearful tone, excuse me, but do we not at least need to know the name of that grimoire so that we may be able to search for it? Cazelle clenched his hand, making the fire and book disappear. With a very serious expression, he replied, a copy of the Book of the Divine King. Hearing his words, the people were stunned and said, what? Cazelle dismissed them without another word. While Cazelle was sitting on his throne, thinking about how to find the Book of the Divine King, a snake entered the room. The snake raised its head, and as Cazelle looked at it, the snake transformed into a beautiful woman. She said, I feel that mentioning the name of the Book of the Divine King was rather careless, Count. Listening to her, Cazelle replied, nonsense. You all are already searching here and there for the grimoire, are you not? Rumors will spread across the continent either way. It'd be wiser to find even a single page before then. Then Cazelle asked the snake woman, so, what is it, witch? Sitting at Cazelle's feet, the snake woman said, I am obliged to say, that your son has fallen victim in the eastern part of the continent, Sir Cazelle. Cazelle interrupted her without changing his expression. Cazelle's forces wouldn't fall so easily. Sir Zebec is with him as well. The snake woman responded, their opponent was the Herald Clan. Cazelle, with a serious expression, said, the Herald Clan? Well, I'm sure they too are after the book of the Divine King. If they wish to be free of the curse of their duty, they will surely need the book of the Divine King, after all. Then Cazelle asked the snake woman, is Cazelle dead? She replied, I've heard that he's lost sight in both eyes, and his reproductive organs are damaged. Looking at him intently, the snake woman inquired, what will you do now? Reaching his hand toward the snake woman, Cazelle said, send soldiers to their vicinity, and kill the Herald Clan. As the snake woman placed her hand in Cazelle's, she said, I understand. I will make contact with the commander. Cazelle interrupted her by pulling her wrist and said, no, command someone else to do so. The snake woman was now sitting in Cazelle's lap, and he said, if my child has been castrated, then I can just make another. If you want snake mommy, then write in the comments, snake mommy, come and bite me. Cazelle placed his hand on the snake woman. The rest was history, you know what I mean. Let's go back to the story. Azadin was walking in the eastern lands, where the ground was dry due to the lack of rain. His owl was sitting on his shoulder as he walked, and Azadin said, this is bad. I'll die of thirst at this rate. Why did you have to put on a show, saying you'd make it in 2 days? You foolish spirit. The owl replied, you dare speak so impertinently to the emperor's mouth? Azadin looked at the owl and said, huh. The owl remained silent. Azadin continued, frankly, because the emperor went and died without any plans, we, once his heralds, are now despised by people all over the world. We're referred to as the Slayers of Sanctity and soulless heretics. Hearing this, the owl began sweating, but Azadin kept speaking. On top of that, because you put on a show to the contractors, I gave up on taking any luggage with me and came running as fast as I could. Thanks to that, I'm so thirsty I could die. I only have dried goods to eat, and I don't think I'd even be able to digest them. So, I guess I'll die from starvation too. The owl stammered, I apologize for that. However, soon, your servant will. Suddenly, the owl stopped. Both of them looked ahead and saw blue lights gathering. Azadin thought, ghosts? The blue lights gathered and turned into people. Azadin said, ah, the people hanging from the trees. Among them were the blonde girl and her fiancé. They looked happy together and bowed their heads. Seeing this, Azadin said to them, yes, hello. He then asked the spirits, this land has neither the light of the king's virtue nor the blessing of the archangels, so it is not good to stay here for long. I've repaid your grudges, so please move on to the afterlife. The blonde girl and her fiancé walked next to Azadin. The blonde girl pointed somewhere. When Azadin turned, he saw a well. He thought, a well? Then he walked toward it and said to them, do you mean to give me water? You didn't have to. You could have just gone to rest. Looking inside the well, Azadin pulled up the bucket to get water. While pulling, he thought, I want to taste it already. When the bucket came out, he saw a glowing paper inside. Azadin exclaimed, what's this?